Back to basics. Use of a burette and titrations. Burettes are primarily used for titrations. Titrations are a common method to quantitatively determine the concentration of an identified analyte. A solution that is loaded into the burette is a titrant. It is prepared at a known concentration. The titrant is slowly added to another solution that has an unknown concentration. An indicator is added to the unknown solution to provide a visual endpoint that indicates the volume of the titrant is sufficient to determine the concentration of the unknown solution. The visual endpoint is normally a color change. To load the burette, ensure the stopcock is closed. Add the titrant using a funnel. Then dispense some of the titrant into a waste container to fill the tip of the burette and ensure that no air bubbles are trapped in the stopcock or burette tip. The tip of the burette should be placed below the neck of an appropriate sized Erlenmeyer flask. The unknown solution should be constantly stirred to ensure that the titrant is being uniformly added to the solution. Prior to dispensing the titrant, the initial volume must be recorded. It is recommended that a white piece of paper or paper towel is placed under the Erlenmeyer flask to see the endpoint clearly. The titrant should be added to the flask dropwise. Throughout the titration, it is recommended to rinse the sides of the flask with an inert solution like water to ensure that any titration that has splashed on the sides of the flask are placed into the unknown solution. Once the titration is complete, record the final volume in the burette. The initial volume is subtracted from the final volume to determine the amount of titration that was added to the flask. Depending on the type of titration you are performing, will determine the subsequent calculation that will need to be performed to obtain an assay or concentration value. That brings us to the conclusion of this section on using a burette and titrations.